is Notsam Wrestling.
Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
A lot of people were talking about this in the context of the Attitude Era and the promo that Vince McMahon gave good guys and bad guys. Quite frankly, we don't want to insult your intelligence anymore. One of the classic moments in the world of wrestling, but this was not that, right? What we saw this week was, I think, more akin to a superstar shakeup, right? It was a refresh, but not an ushering into a brand new era. I like the idea, actually, of general managers going away. You know, there was many years that there was no general manager. So I don't mind general managers going away. I think that they absolutely need to find a new role for Paige because she is too good to not be on TV every week. But what I do think is that you can't just have, that's Lila upstairs if you can hear her. Lila Garrity is barking at somebody. I don't know who it is, but I'm going to tell you this. If somebody's breaking into the studio right now, I don't have anything to worry about because Lila's going to eat them alive. I think that you need separation still. If you just have the McMahon family in general, Triple H, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, if they're just running Raw and SmackDown, you're really running a risk of starting to blend these two brands together. And when you do that, when you upset the integrity of the brand split, that's when things get wonky and start to make no sense. And you end up in a scenario that you were in a few years ago when there was absolutely no reason to watch SmackDown. So I think that the brand split should remain pretty, line in the ground drawn. And I think that means you need separate authority figures on each show. I think the way to handle this, based on what I was watching on Raw and SmackDown this week, I actually really enjoyed Vince McMahon's contributions to SmackDown. And it made me think of the early days of SmackDown. The early days of the draft split, version of SmackDown. Not the early days of SmackDown, but the early days of the SmackDown roster. And Vince McMahon being an authority figure on SmackDown, not on Raw. I think it'd be really cool to have Shane and Stephanie take over Raw together and have Vince take over SmackDown. And Vince could then bring in Paige as his assistant. And don't do the commissioner, general manager thing. Vince is there on camera, on SmackDown, almost every week, if not every week. You don't have to come out in front of the live audience every week if you don't want to. But those, like what really sold me on it was the vignette with The Miz. Was The Miz knocking on Vince's door and Vince coming out and blah, blah, blah. Because Vince has this real-life authority where you believe that wrestlers will do things, superstars will do things when they get to the ring because they are scared of his power. Whether he shows his face or not, you believe in the intimidation power of Vince McMahon because he's the legit boss. He had a dream, I had it made it. Now I'm Vince McMahon and I own it. The legit boss. No, I think that because we know he actually does sign these guys checks, right? And I like the idea. So what I would do is on SmackDown, I would put Vince McMahon in charge. I would have Paige be his assistant. And that way Paige could go out in front of the live audience. And if Vince McMahon isn't there one week, have Paige be there. By the way, babyface Vince McMahon, not Mr. McMahon. Have it be a babyface, good guy Vince McMahon authority figure because everybody loves him so much anyway. Have Paige be a good guy too. Like, I don't want to play with the whole idea of, oh, Vince isn't around and now Paige her power is going to her head. Like, no. Vince is finally at this point in his career, in storyline-wise, Vince is working to make the WWE Universe happy. And Paige is working for Vince. This group wants to make the WWE Universe happy. Meanwhile, over on Raw, Shane wants to make the universe happy, but Stephanie and Hunter are still Stephanie and Hunter. And I would love to get to a place where you've got Stephanie and Shane controlling Raw. The given is, that's to say, it's Stephanie and Shane and Hunter controlling Raw. I would like to see a power struggle exist between Hunter and Shane. And I would like that to play out on camera. You know, lean in to those internet rumors that you read every now and then about a power struggle happening. Lean into the idea that the audience knows it's the son and it's the son-in-law. And the son went away for a while. And while the son was away, the son-in-law rose to power. But then the son comes back. That's my blood. Well, that's the son-in-law is not going to be happy because he put the work in. And if the son-in-law is made to be happy, well, then the son's not going to be happy because now the dad or whoever is taking the son-in-law's side. Have Stephanie be the middle ground. You going to pick your brother? You going to pick your husband? You know, I love the idea of a tension building between Triple H and Shane. And you could even have Stephanie not necessarily be a full-on bad guy. Be in the middle somewhere where she's now actually controlling Raw because Shane and Hunter can't get their you-know-what together. I think you have a match where it's Shane versus Hunter and only one guy can stay on Raw. The other guy has to go home. Shane wins that match. Shane McMahon beats Triple H. Triple H is no longer on Raw. What's he got left? NXT. You now have the opportunity to start building up that NXT brand because you've got Vince running SmackDown. Shane with Stephanie, they're going to start cooperating because Stephanie knows she's got to, otherwise she's out of job. But Shane and Stephanie are running Raw. Vince is running SmackDown. Triple H is running NXT. And there is a three-way competitiveness. Not always a butt heads thing, but maybe we start inching NXT up. Maybe NXT gets a little bit of representation at the Survivor Series, right? Maybe instead of 5 on Raw versus 5 on SmackDown, we have 3 on Raw versus 3 on SmackDown versus 3 on NXT. What are we thinking, guys, huh? Huh? You see how I got there? Vince, SmackDown. Shane, Stephanie, Hunter, Raw. Shane and Hunter, Shane versus Hunter. Shane wins. Bye-bye, Hunter. I've still got NXT. Let's change the world now. And fans, you pick your favorites.